How's it going, everyone? Welcome once again to Talking March Madness with yours truly, Miguel Mike Medina and Avery Jones. Avery, fascinating first round so far. Fascinating. Wagner wins their first NCAA tournament game in school history. Um, they nearly blew a 17-point lead, but they hanged on. And now they will face the number one, my team, North Carolina, in the West region on Thursday, which will be at 2:45 Eastern time. And but this is a history that we witness here with Wagner. So Melvin Consul, he led Wagner with 21 points to go along with 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. 4 Wagner players finished with double figures, so this is great for their program to go to the dance, I should say. It's not going to be easy because they're going to go up against my Tar Heels, and the Tar Heels are 32-2 all-time in round of 64. So go ahead, take it from there, Avery.
You're absolutely right. The Howard Wagner game, even though those first 4 games, 4 teams to play in, a lot of people, kind of don't look at them closely, but you're correct. Howard were knocking down threes left and right to cut into that 17-point lead, but Wagner hung on. Wagner is a bit of a short staff roster, but they hung on to beat Howard, and Howard just was not going to give up, but they just did not make their free throws late in the game. And if that's one thing we saw in the first 4, that could be something we may see in the tournament. You may see teams, going to that 3-point to cut down leads. You may see teams needing to make those free throws. But there was one thing interesting you said. Yes, this is a historic win for Wagner. And the one thing I love about when teams either get to they punch their ticket to the dance, if you will, it rejuvenates maybe a downslide of their basketball program. We've seen basketball programs that have become Cinderellas in the NCAA tournament all of a sudden get a lot of recruits going to their school. They get a boost in admissions. People want to be a part of that program, and not just athletically, they want to be part of that program academically as well. So congratulations to Wagner. They are up for a very, very tough test against the North Carolina Tar Heels, but if they stay in it with Howard, I see them staying in it with North Carolina. Let's not cut them out.
Yes, in March Madness, it could be improbable, but not impossible. But I hope that's not the case with my North Carolina Tar Heels, because you have some guys that have stayed around, like Davis and Baycott. They're not freshmen, so they've been around, so they know what it takes. They know what it felt like losing to Baylor a few years back. So, and I feel that teams get better once they stay in school. Nowadays, kids don't stay in school; they leave after their freshman year. But when you look back at March Madness in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, etc., these kids, they stayed 3-4 years and sharpen their skills, learn the system, and they will win, like the Duke in the early 90s, Grant Hill, Christian Laettner, they stayed there, for 3 to 4 years. So, but those are just an examples. So, but it's gonna be fun to watch. And how about the next one, Colorado State? Colorado State, they were in command all night long. Virginia didn't seem to challenge them at all in the second half. They were not tested. Colorado State were not tested. So Colorado State, they dominated the rebound game, 43-21. Forward Joel Sky had a double-double with 23 points and rebounds. Colorado State, it was just all them in last night's game, and they're another team that's going to dance.
You're right. Like I said in our first reaction to the selection, we might want to keep an eye on Virginia. They've had a bit of an up and down for the past few years, and we saw that with their first four games. Colorado State just absolutely manhandled him, the Virginia team, because in the second half, Virginia didn't even score for a good 12 minutes. So Colorado State was definitely in command. They wanted to punch their ticket. They punched their ticket, and now let's see how far they can go, knowing they had to play to get in. And Virginia, I think they need a bit of a reset. A few years ago, they won a national championship, but also the year before that, they were upset in the first round, and I believe they were a 2 seed at the time. And then the following year, they go all the way to the end. So Virginia may need to look inward to see what they need to do, any changes they may need to make. But I completely agree with you. This is now a different time for student athletes, especially in college basketball. And I completely agree with you. In the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, you had players that were recruited as freshmen and they stayed until they graduated. And it was a sight to behold, because a lot of these players, we know them mostly from their college days. There are some that have excelled past college and in the NBA, but to see them grow and flourish, especially when it comes to tournament time, that somehow cements them as legends in basketball. But everybody assumes that, you need to be a legend in the NBA, but you can do one or the other. You can do both, but you can still excel, and you need that foundation, and that foundation is college basketball. And the tournament just shows that. We've seen some great things happen in the NCAA tournament. I still get goosebumps every time I see Jimmy V run across the court when his team made that last minute shot. I get goosebumps when the Duke Blue Devils, Christian Laettner's, last minute shot at the free throw line. They were playing Kentucky at the time, and that was a game where they also had to come back. There are many great things that have happened at the NCAA tournament, and to be a part of it, to watch it, to even possibly be there to see it, you never know what's going to happen. And I think that's why, a lot of people, we always, print out our brackets, and we go on the app and we make tons of brackets, because, ESPN app, I have 8 brackets for the men and I have 4 brackets for the women already, and I can still make more. And trust me, I like making those brackets, because you never know what's going to happen. And we're just less than 24 hours away for the madness to begin. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great.